Light of Africa. Where we shine the light. All praises to the Most High. Light of Africa.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first. Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Alright, my people, don't be consumed by the media. Allow the Holy Spirit to guide you. You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, true discernment comes from the Father, comes from the Holy Spirit. So you have to be mindful and wise as to what you take in, as what you listen to, what you're watching. You know what I mean? Everything that you're taking in should be pleasing to the Father as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And with discernment, you will know what is false news from the real news. You know what I mean? You have to watch, and pick sense from nonsense. You know what I mean? Don't just consume everything. Don't just, jump up and watch the news and say, oh, the news say it, so it is the truth. You know what I mean? Yeah, just watch with discernment.
Exactly.
Pick sense from nonsense. Yeah.
Exactly. And just understand that sometimes when we're told a certain story, when we're told a certain thing, there's a reason behind it, right?
Definitely.
There's a narrative behind it.
Always a narrative.
We're not saying that sometimes when you go and you click on and you see some kind of breaking news, it's fake or it's not true. It could be very well real. However, what's the story behind it? Or what's the bigger news that's not even making mainstream news?
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah, because most of the time, the news, it distracts you from the reality of what's really going on. You know what I mean? And they always need a story, so they will always hype up a topic. You know what I mean? Just to give it some attention, distracting you from, what's really happening. Beyond the scenes.
Exactly. Yeah, so we have to watch what we are taking in and what we're allowing our children to listen to and what we allow our children to watch, right?
There's some new images from Yountville, Santa Clara County, and here in San Francisco. One of the strongest solar storms in decades is behind the light show.
The photos from around the world earlier today are just spectacular. This is the biggest one since 2003. This is a G5. We have not had a G5 since 2003.
Talking about a massive solar storm here. They are calling it a severe geomagnetic storm. It threatens to have an impact on our power grids, our communications, and just maybe give us a look at something that is very rarely ever seen here in the Southland.
Normally, one has to travel to places like Canada or Greenland to see this. But with the largest geomagnetic storm in almost 2 decades reaching Earth's atmosphere, the skies lighting up across America with colors seen as far as Florida and Texas.
The first solar flares erupting Wednesday morning, directed towards Earth from the sun's corona.
So every 11 years, the sun does this kind of thing, and it's been brewing, and there have been these big sunspots and these big, patches of sunspots that are 16 times bigger than our planet, just on the surface of the sun. And these things have been burping out. And so yesterday, NOAA could see these waves of plasma coming off the sun and did the calculations and said, look, somewhere between 5 and 7 of these are going to hit the Earth at the same time. And this could be a G4. this could be really big. And so everybody was excited for a G4, but you can't always predict with these things what is going to happen. And it turned out to exceed expectations. It was a G5. It was not just severe, it was extreme. And so, as I said, this hasn't happened since 2003. And the fact that you can see the northern lights in Vancouver, it tells the whole story. I mean, Vancouver is not north. That is basically on the southern border of Canada. You shouldn't be able to see northern lights there. And the fact that you could really speaks to what a spectacular event this was. And I've talked to friends in Alberta and Saskatchewan who say that it was just a breath to behold, just a beautiful sight.
I did a TV show, The End Is Nigh, where we did 6 world-ending scenarios. Well, the one that really worries me is this very one.
Right.
This one, show episode number 3, where we get these coronal mass ejections, CMEs, back to back. So if you had really big ones, like he was talking about a third-story G5, wow, except in space there's no sound, it would just be, and these things, if they happen 12 hours apart, hypothetically, you could turn off the electricity in the whole world.
Just filter everything that your eyes see, that you hear. You know what I mean? Just filter it. You know what I mean? And through discernment, you will know the real from the fake. You see me? So yeah.
And the thing is, there are a lot of news out there, because we're not trying to say that news, when you turn on your TV and you see your news, it's not real. That's not what we're saying. The news can very well be real, but what we're saying is that most times there's a story behind it. There's something more important that maybe won't be on the mainstream media. So do your own research. You see what I'm saying? Talk to the Father, because he's the first person you should even go to and question things. If you see something that it doesn't seem right, there's just something off about it within your spirit when you watch something or you hear something and it just seems awkward, go to it first
Go to the Father.
Go to the Father first.
Yes.
Go to the Father first. You see?
Yeah. And always remember, there's a narrative. There's a narrative. They always push a narrative.
Exactly.
And sometimes that narrative is distracting you from what's really happening beyond the scenes.
Exactly.
You see what I say? So yeah, there's always a narrative. So know what you are doing. Yeah.
There's something happening maybe in the spiritual realm, you see, and this all boils down to your relationship with Father as well. You see what I'm saying? Your relationship that you have with the Holy Spirit. Allow the Holy Spirit to guide you and lead you. Then you won't get consumed with all the things that you see happening, because there's a lot. If you get up right now and you turn on your TV, the amount of news you see about things happening daily, you'll be like, oh my goodness, like it can get overwhelming sometimes. You know, it can get really overwhelming.
Yeah, just if not all the time, most of the times, when you see the mainstream media run with a certain topic, everywhere you go, you see the same thing. Something is up.
Exactly.
There's a distraction somewhere in between, somewhere. You know what I mean? So when you see one topic keep flooding the internet, everywhere you go, you see the same thing. Just pull back a little bit and, you know, try to find what is the purpose. You know, what can be hidden, what can be, you know, what can this be over, you know, shadowing.
Overshadowing.
Yeah,
So you can try to be one step ahead.
yeah,
You see?
that's important.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
be ahead. To be ahead so that even if there is a crisis or even if there is something, massive happens that a lot of people weren't expecting, you're kind of aware because you're paying attention.
Aaron, just about everyone talking about this on Facebook or people we talk to directly say pretty much the same thing. They heard a loud explosion like thunder, but the skies were clear and then the ground shook. The sound was so loud, John Newenhouse was sure something blew up in his home.
It was like an explosion, and there was no doubt in my mind something blew up in the basement. I mean, the house just violently shook, so I quick ran downstairs, and there was nothing going on down there.
So he ran outside and saw this. 2 large trees in front of his house snapped in half and laying across his driveway.
So I ran on the other side of the trees, really expecting to see an airplane or something laying there, and there's absolutely nothing over there.
He called the Ostramo Fire Department, but they didn't find anything either that might have crashed out of the sky. John's neighbor also told us her house shook at around 8:30 this morning. And although he's the only case of actual damage, last night there were other explosions reported in Calhoun County. Centered around the Union City and Burlington areas, dozens of people there posted on Facebook that they heard a boom and their houses shook at around 10:30 last night. There were no earthquakes recorded anywhere in the Midwest region last night, and air traffic control in Kalamazoo says there were no planes flying that might have broken the sound barrier.
So, yeah, it was quite surprising and a little scary.
And we are continuing to look into this. The Calhoun County Emergency Management Department says it has received these reports but doesn't have any explanation. One of its theories was it could be powerful fireworks, but this being heard in such a large area, that probably is unlikely. Reporting live, Ryan Duffy.
Officials confirmed with CBS 13 the boom or explosion sound did not come from a medical center. And Stockton police sent us this statement saying they received several calls and their officers checked out every single one, but no explosions or indications were found. So was it lightning? Showed the video to the National Weather Service. They told us there were storms to the south and west of Stockton at the time of the boom, but the video confirmed with them this was nothing weather related at all.
I just started sharing it because I'm like, this is what it was. It was not thunder. It was not fireworks. I know what those are like.
So what does Misha think it is?
Oh, great. I'm the only one that got it. Are the men in black going to show up and, hold up the little thing? And, I don't know what it was. I know what it wasn't, or at least I'm pretty sure what it wasn't. And so I just want to know what it was.
We reached out to several atmospheric scientists and experts today, from UC Davis to Sacramento State and even the Lawrence Livermore Laboratory. Nobody was able to give us a concrete answer as to what happened over the skies of Stockton.
A strange sight in the sky last night over Oahu caught the attention of many people. Howard Deshefsky joins us with more. Howard?
Joe, that's the question. What was it? What did people see? We did receive a lot of reports via our reported feature on our website. A lot of viewers wondering what those lights were over West Oahu. Check out this video from one of our viewers, Mash Hatai. He said he woke up at about 2:30 this morning, get a drink of water, and this is what he saw in the sky. Certainly caught his eye. He took the video from Kaka'ako and thinks the lights were over Central or West Oahu, hard to tell from his vantage point. As you can see, the 2 bright lights, and then slowly a 3rd light appears. Hatai believes he saw about 8 to 10 of the lights total. He says he believes, at least he thinks, they're probably flares.
It looks like flares. Definitely could have been taken as something more mysterious. But yeah, it's definitely probably just flares, military flares. Definitely really unusual to see. They were super bright. I guess I couldn't really get the full gist of it with my camera since it was so far away, but it was really, really bright. I mean, I looked out my lanai and it was literally the first thing I saw.
Now, we did check today with the FAA whether they received any reports. They did not. We also checked with the Hawaii Air National Guard, the U.S. Army, Schofield Barracks. In the past, when we've received reports about similar lights, it did wind up being due to military training. We're still waiting to hear exactly what those lights are. When we do, we'll let you know. Joe?
This next story, call it the case of the mystery booms. Folks in the Verde Valley want to know what shook their community last night. So CBS 5's Heather Moore hit the road to investigate.
I've never heard anything quite like this.
A tremendous boom, like a controlled explosion.
It sounded like two very large explosions.
Hundreds of people from all ends of the Verde Valley have now reported hearing the same thing. Around 5 o'clock Tuesday evening, something crazy loud stole their attention.
It scared me. I actually felt it and my house shook.
It was really, really freaky, to tell you the truth. It was scary.
Since then, a lot of people have been digging for answers.
Everybody describes the same thing. They seem to believe that it came from underground rather than from the air.
There are no active mines in this valley and no known demolitions took place.
People, I think, are wondering what it is.
It has been more than a day since those thunderous booms rocked the Verde Valley, and it is still the talk of the town. We reached out to law enforcement, to fire, to the military, even to the Geological Service. None of them had any explanation to this mystery. They're in the dark on this, just like everyone else.
It's pretty amazing that the whole Verde Valley heard this, so it had to be something quite large.
It has to be a mystery or something, because I didn't see anything and there's nothing around.
Nothing but an explosion of speculation about what's behind the mystery blasts.
I don't know. Unless it was somebody that had a handful of dynamite and didn't know what else to do with it.
It's going to make a good story if we can find the truth.
In the Verde Valley, Heather Moore.
When the news tell you to get out, I think it's gonna be already too late. You know, so be ahead of the news.
Mm-hmm.
You know, watch where you get your news from. You know, just always be ahead of the game. So when the news is telling people to get out, you're already gone. You know, when the news tell people to get out, you find millions of people traveling at the same time. Then traffic get thicker. You know, the stores start bombarded with people. You know,
crime becomes like, you know, way more serious.
Yeah, so
people take advantage of the situation, because just like how the upper heads have it that they will never waste a good crisis. Well, why do you think the average man or woman will waste a good crisis? You see what I'm saying?
No, we have to get into the mindset of the people. You know what I mean? Looting for some people is fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So some people are waiting on the system to go down so that they can go rob, and you know, they have their guns and their ammunition. They're ready to go, you know, have some fun, as they call it. You know what I mean?
40 people were arrested last night, most of them juveniles, some as young as 12 years old, hit with reckless misconduct charges. A 15-year-old was arrested for having a gun with a laser and a silencer on it, and a 17-year-old was arrested for having a machine gun. This 7-Eleven behind me was looted, turned completely upside down. And you're looking at that video showing the teens taking items from inside the 7-Eleven and throwing it around the parking lot. An estimated 300 to 400 teens showed up for this teen trend in the South Loop. There were fights, and then there was looting.
Police in Philadelphia arrested dozens of people last night after a violent looting spree, a growing problem around the country that's forcing many retailers to take drastic measures. Tom Yamas has that story.
Tonight, more than 50 people are under arrest in connection with this overnight crime wave that hit Philadelphia. Officers tackling suspects ransacking businesses. Crowds of suspected thieves seen running from stores like Apple, Lululemon, and Foot Locker.
This is not shoplifting. This is looting. This is riot.
It's called organized retail theft. It's happening all over America, killing business and making shopping even more expensive.
Wow, this is crazy. Oh my God, this is
we don't want to get caught in that crossfire where you're trying to escape, you're trying to get out of the city and stuff, and then the traffic is there. Maybe it's best to walk because the traffic is so heavy. You know what I mean? If you get out just before the news say get out, I think it will be good. Just be ahead, one step ahead at all times. Yeah. Know where you get your news from, as we said before. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's best to have some guys doing some underground work that is not, following the mainstream media, or sometimes they will be putting out news, that you don't see any and anywhere. They're not that popular, but when you do your own research, you realize that these are, legit information. You know what I mean? And that can give you, leverage, to be a step ahead. So these people may be known as conspiracy theory.
If you go back really not that long ago, as I say, we owned the news. We were the gatekeepers, and we very much owned the facts as well. If it said it in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, then that was a fact. Nowadays, people can go to all sorts of different sources for the news, and they're much more questioning about what we're saying. So it's no longer good enough for us just to say, this is what happened, or this is the news. We have to explain our working. So readers expect to understand how we source stories. They want to know how we go about getting stories. We have to sort of lift the bonnet, as it were, and in a way that newspapers, aren't used to doing, and explain to people what we're doing. We need to be much more transparent about how we go about collecting the news.
What I would say is receive the information and do your own research. So don't just follow what anybody is saying. You know what I mean? You will know if this is real or not.
And I would even say, don't even follow what even people on YouTube are saying. Even us, if we come out and we say something, do your own research. Do your research.
Go to the Father, and you can also do physical research as well. No problem.
And most of the people that actually have news, legit news that's not mainstream, but it's like real important things that's actually happening, they're considered as like conspiracy theorists, But I think most people are seeing now that what they call conspiracy theorists is actually, it's happening right in front of our eyes right now.
People who think outside of the box and not stuck in a system and okay with everything and running after politicians.
I grew up a Democrat, and I've always been a Democrat until I met this man right here. I'll tell you what.
So if a situation was to happen, some kind of crisis, some kind of unfortunate situation that will shake the world,
which they are prepping us for,
you can be ahead of it. You don't have to wait until the mainstream says, oh my gosh, this just happened.
Yes, alien
Get
invasion, all these things, demon invasion.
Exactly. You don't have to wait for them to come and say these things are gonna happen. As a matter of fact, the Bible speaks on these things that will come in the last days, and how man's hearts will fail them because of the things that's coming upon this earth, the things that we don't expect. The things in the realms of the unseen.
Certain realms that they are trying to open right now, if not opened. You know what I mean? Yeah. So certain things we are gonna see, we are gonna, make we heart attack we. But my heart not that wicked to me, so it not gonna attack me. Yeah.
Yes, but we have to be aware. You can be one step ahead of all of the mess.
Yeah.
So as what he was saying about if you're in the city and you might have to walk by foot, you know what I mean? And that adds to your preparedness, because hopefully, you're on this channel and you're realizing that times and things are not normal, right? So at least be prepared that maybe anything can happen at any point in time. So have a bag, and we'll definitely get into a video of the mindset that you can have.
Exactly. Have a get out bag and have a get out plan.
Exactly.
Back to the narrative. You know, the news always need a story, and sometimes the story leads to mind control. You know, with social media these days, what social media does, it actually um, alter the way you think. You see what I mean? So the news do the same thing. You know, it's mind control sometimes, if not most of the times, it's mind control, putting fear into people's mind. That's why we know that fear is not of the Most High.
Exactly.
So if you are with the Most High, you know you're not gonna be fearful.
Exactly.
So you know what I mean? You're gonna be prepared, and if a war.
Exactly.
See? Yes.
And to add to what you said, right, about the media having a story, right? There's always going to be a story. Believe it or not, you're one of the key characters in their story. So
Definitely.
how you react and how you act and how you allow the story to go is either you fall for the narrative or you do what's right.
That's true. And sometimes a test as well. As what you say, it depends on how you react. So them test the masses, and what you call that thing? Them survey. When them survey come back and it say, oh, certain amount of 60% of people reacted this way, you know, 10% of people reacted this way, and this and this. When them go through them survey, then them know, say, okay, 60% do this, okay, we have to do it again. You see me? Yeah. So
and sometimes it comes in the forms of you know, medications and solutions to problems and stuff like that. So you have to be wise.
That's the next thing.
Yes.
What they do is create the problem,
yes,
offer the solution,
which they prepared.
Exactly, and you know, read between the lines.
Yes. A lot of pokes here and there.
Yeah, them create the problem and give the solution. Yeah, and sometimes the solution is more beneficial to them. It's always more beneficial to them than you as an individual. So yeah, we see it in the past few years, you know. So as we say, use discernment, man. Use discernment. Know what I do. Pick sense from nonsense, and just live your life and be happy and free. Don't fret. Don't stress over anything.
And also don't get too comfortable. As much as how you're living your life and you're being free and happy and you know you're worshiping Father, don't get too comfortable, because not because one narrative has supposedly ended means that there isn't more coming down the pipeline, guys. Like this is the times we're in right now. So be prepared always for the next narrative. You just make sure you're staying spiritually sound.
A real talk, because since certain thing gone a few years ago, and you know them say gone now, so people gone right back to them old dirty ways, you know. So yeah, you're right. All right, my people, you know, big up on yourself once more. You know, give thanks to the love and support.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Big up on yourself.
To the new people who joined the family, you guys are welcome. Miawezo, wagwan.
Welcome forward.
Yes.
Stay tuned.
Yes. And to those of you who are just finding our channel, if you like our content, if this is doing something for you, then please like the video. You know what I mean? Subscribe. Hit the subscribe button below.
Definitely.
Yes. So until the next one.
Until next time. Peace.
One love.